What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Bull Combo, your source for album reviews, vlogs, live music, and more. Today we're back with our first album review of 2019. We're talking The Simulation by Born of Osiris, so stick around while we check out the latest entry in Boo's catalog. Alright guys, I appreciate the patience. I know this album review is a couple days late. If you didn't see my post on the community tab on my channel, I did take a trip to Killington, Vermont over the weekend. I left on Friday, so didn't get a chance to film the review of the album before I left, so wanted to do this first thing as soon as I got back. Killington was awesome. You guys can expect a vlog probably later this week on it, but in the meantime, let's talk The Simulation. So Born of Osiris are one of those bands that have consistently released above par content, always centering around gent, deathcore, technical hardcore, and technical metal. This band is full of diversity, full of really crazy, intricate riffs, crazy timings, and the signature boo bounce. And I think what really put them on the map was probably their album The Discovery, which was also the last album to feature Jason Richardson. That album was full of unique sounds and firsts for the band, and it really kind of propelled them to the next echelon of metal success. And since then, they've really been kind of releasing an album every 2 years or so, and it feels like a lot of these albums are, no pun intended, discovery albums in terms of them trying to discover the next evolution of their sound. Now, Born of Osiris isn't one of those bands that have ever released an album where they sounded confused. That's not quite what I'm saying here. But what I am saying is that as the albums have gone on, they've kind of refined the style inside of the members that they have. And I feel like The Simulation is kind of the peak of that style refinement. It definitely has some similarities to some of their previous albums, specifically A Higher Place, Tomorrow We Die Alive, and The Discovery. I do hear a lot of similarities to those prior albums in this album. Now, a lot of people are probably going to be turned off right off the bat by the fact this album is only 25 minutes long. It's 8 tracks, one of which is a 1 minute long instrumental of sorts. So 7 tracks of music, 1 instrumental, comes in at a little under 25 minutes. From what I understand, this is actually only the first half of the album, that the second half is going to be released later on this year. So once they're a whole album and both pieces are released, that'll be 16 tracks, which definitely feels more in line with a full album and getting your full money's worth here. So don't fret if you're a little concerned at the length of the album. It is the first half of a 2-part series. So in terms of the sound, obviously they're really going to be sticking to their signature Born of Osiris sound. They don't really diverge from that sound too much. I think if anything what they do is they really dug deep and they really try to come out with some really creative stuff on this album, and I think it's a little bit higher quality than some of their previous stuff. Some of their previous stuff, while it's still Born of Osiris, sometimes gets that lazy feeling to it, almost like, oh wow, they were able to write this song probably in a day. You know, some of these songs really feel like they took a lot of time to write the songs. There's some really complex riffs, some really complex harmonies, some insane transitions. One without the other has one of the sickest lead lines and choruses and transitions that Boo's released in quite a few albums. So just to hear some of that stuff is really refreshing. I think as a whole, every song is really listenable. There's nothing that makes me want to skip to the next song or anything like that. In terms of sound changes, there haven't been too many sound changes. They are pretty much sticking to the Boo formula on this album. If anything, there's probably a little more clean singing. Maybe a little bit more even than in previous albums. I know that they have kind of evolved to the point that they're including clean singing in a lot of their choruses, but it definitely feels like every chorus on this album has clean singing to it. But they are catchy, so it's not like they're clean singing choruses that are easily forgettable and they're doing it just for the gimmick of it. They do sound like they fit. Their keyboardist does a really good job of creating that raspy style clean singing that just fits with the style of the music that they're playing. So at no point does the clean singing sound out of place or anything like that. It sounds really good. And I think it just adds another level of diversity to the album as a whole. Really the only thing I have to complain about on this album is the length itself. I understand it's a 2-part album, but they probably could have released the 2 parts closer together, or maybe both parts at the same time with kind of a different vibe on both to give you a complete package. Right now it kind of just seems a little short. Kind of seems like we're being chinsed just a little bit. And that is probably because of the instant gratification mentality that we have these days, where if they're not releasing the whole album at once, we don't feel like they're releasing a complete package. So I'm trying not to let that bother me too much. I really don't have any complaints on this album aside from the length of it. I think it sounds great. I've always been a huge fan of Born of Osiris. I've really liked the technical gent style that they used. Born of Osiris, Veil of Maya, Periphery. I've always been a fan of those bands because I feel like, well, for one, they have kind of similar styles when they're including a lot of that gent in there, but I feel like they have some really awesome creative riffs, and they've always just done really creative things, especially on guitar, which is my instrument of choice. So when I'm listening to albums like this, I'm always paying attention to the guitar work. And, you know, from the Discovery all the way up to the Simulation now with just Lee McKinney on guitar, I feel like never lets you down. There's always ridiculously creative riffs that are going to make you say, oh my god, did you hear that? Oh my god, how'd they do that? And I think that that's really cool. That makes an album really cool. So I think sometimes people take Born of Osiris for granted because they've been doing this so long. You know, people just come to expect this from Born of Osiris. They expect Born of Osiris to sound like this crazy amalgamation of all these different genres. But I still think it's an accomplishment. I still think it is really an accomplishment to be able to sound like they do, combine all these genres of music, and still be successful doing it, and have it not come off as ridiculously gimmicky. So, you know, kudos to them. I think the Simulation as a whole is a really good album, and I'm really excited to hear the second half of it. If it's as good as this first half of the album, then Born of Osiris may have their best album since the Discovery on their hands. So we'll have to wait and see to hear the rest of this half, but I'm curious to see what you guys think about this album, what songs you liked, what songs you didn't like. I think my favorite songs are probably Silence, The Echo, and One Without the Other. I just feel like those two songs to me hit the most, had the most emotional response for me. So let me know what your favorite songs are. Let me know what you guys thought about the album. If you liked this video, make sure to click that like button. If you like the content here, make sure to subscribe. Like I said, I'll be coming at you guys with another video later this week. It'll be my vlog from Killington. We had a blast. We did a bunch of stupid crap. Probably almost died, but it was a really good time, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. So thank you for checking this video out. As always, I hope you guys have a great day, a great rest of your week, and until next time, we will see you soon.